Welcome back to the third and final part of this three-part series where we're looking at what's left of the British Empire. In the previous video, we explored the British overseas territories of the Falkland Islands, the Cayman Islands, the British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, and Montserrat. And in this video, we'll finish our journey with 3 more British overseas territories. So let's dive right into it. From Montserrat, where we ended our last video, we travelled back to the northern Caribbean Sea to the Turks and Caicos Islands, just east of the beautiful Bahamas and its 43,000 residents. Unlike other British overseas territories in the Caribbean, many of which we explored in our previous video, the Turks and Caicos Islands did have native inhabitants when Spain first arrived in 1512, the Taino and Lusayan people, who were captured to work on plantations as slaves. The islands were soon after totally depopulated due to native people being moved to work on plantations elsewhere and a lack of immunity to diseases brought by Europeans. Following a series of rifts between the UK and France, the 1783 Treaty of Paris brought the islands under British control, who made efforts to establish a population of colonists and slaves there. Salt and cotton production, fueled by slave labour, were the main sectors of the local economy. Nowadays, like many other British Caribbean territories, tourism and financial services propel the economy instead. Formerly affiliated with the colony of Jamaica, the islands were placed under the control of the governor of the Bahamas colony following Jamaican independence in 1962. Separate colony status was finally given to them in 1973 following Bahamian independence, and despite half-hearted attempts to turn it into a Canadian overseas province, it remains a British overseas territory to this day. Going from one end of the Bermuda Triangle to another, we find the namesake of this infamous region, none other than the overseas territory of Bermuda and its 64,000 inhabitants. First discovered by Spanish explorers in the 1500s, the island was totally uninhabited and left unsettled due to the dangerous weather and strange sounds from the island's birds, leading Portuguese and Spanish explorers to dub it the Isle of Devils. It was only until English colonists settled on the islands in 1612 that a permanent population was established. Unlike many other New World British colonies at the time, Bermuda did not develop a plantation economy, and most slavery on the island ceased by the end of the 17th century. Instead, Bermuda established itself as a shipbuilding hub, which led to a large Royal Navy presence being established there and many harbours, docks, and shipbuilding facilities being constructed. The island served as a base for British supplies and forces in the American War of Independence, the War of 1812, and even hosted Boer prisoners from the Anglo-Boer War. As of 2022, Bermuda is the UK's oldest overseas possession and has been under British rule for over 400 years, 410 to be precise. To put into perspective just how long this is, 1612 was just 5 years after the UK's first successful colony was established in present-day Jamestown, Virginia, which laid the foundation for what is today the USA. We end our journey thousands of kilometers south, in a relatively forgotten corner of the globe, almost halfway between South America and Africa in the South Atlantic Ocean. The territory of St. Helena, Ascension, and Tristan da Cunha is split into 3 distinct constituent territories, each of which we'll explore in turn. First, the primary island of St. Helena, the home of around 4,400 people. Despite being first discovered by the Portuguese and being first claimed by the Dutch, who never actually settled there, the first European colonists arrived when the British East India Company was granted a colonial charter in 1657. A flourishing economy never really developed on the island, and it largely became a port of call for British ships travelling between Europe and Asia. The island is perhaps most well known for being the site of exile for Napoleon Bonaparte, after he surrendered at the Battle of Waterloo. He died here in 1821, about 6 years after he had been initially exiled. Next, about 1,300 kilometers northwest is Ascension Island and its population of around 800 people. Like St. Helena, the island was first discovered by Portuguese explorers but was unclaimed and largely untouched, except for the introduction of a small goat population to serve as a source of meat for passing sailors. Relative inaccessibility means that tourism has not succeeded much on the island despite its natural beauty. However, the island does have numerous facilities for the British Army, as well as a tracking station belonging to NASA. Finally, Tristan da Cunha, which some aptly name the most isolated human settlement in the world, and its tight-knit community of some 270 residents, all residing in the island's only settlement of Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. Again, first discovered by Portuguese explorers, wholehearted settlement attempts only began in 1816, when the island was annexed by the UK. Much of the island's economy is agricultural, and all land is communally owned. Outsiders cannot own land in Tristan da Cunha or settle permanently without unanimous agreement from all residents. The only way to reach is through a ship from Cape Town, which lasts 6 days, meaning that tourists rarely visit. Still, the inhabitants are very devoted to their island and have always returned, despite constant threats such as isolation and the local volcano, even moving back after the whole population was evicted to South Africa because of a volcanic eruption in 1961. That concludes our journey of exploring what's left of the British Empire. We hope you enjoyed this 3-part series and found it educational as well as entertaining. Do consider checking out some of our other content, as well as leaving a like and a subscription to show your support for us. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you very soon.